The word miracle has evidently lost its meaning ever since China decided to achieve every achievement. Over the last few decades, China has continued to surprise the world powers with its latest technological advancements. This time, they have yet again done something miraculous. Ever heard of a high-yielding seafood-saturated water body in the middle of an arid desert? Don't worry, because now you will. When we think about any desert, the first picture that comes into everybody's mind contains vast lands of loose sand, scorching heat, sandstorms, and thorny cacti. Little did we ever imagine that technological advancements would allow us to create a sea right in the middle of a desert, saturated with seafood. In this video, we will share every tiny detail regarding China's latest inventory wonder. Keep watching the video till the end to know how you can now enjoy fresh seafood right from the middle of a desert and watch the Chinese GDP spike with its seafood yields. Before we begin, make sure you hit the red subscribe button and turn on the post notification bell to never miss a single update from our channel. When we think of extremely insufferable environments for living beings, the desert would probably stand at last at the top of the list. With intolerable hot days to extremely cold nights, deserts have made quite a reputation for themselves in terms of survival. Even in such a situation, China has not only decided to explore the desert, but they have also created a sea right at the heart of it. It is specifically made to raise seafood with extremely high yields. Being the second most populated country in the world, seafood has always been a golden tooth for the Chinese economy. Not only do the Chinese people absolutely love smacking it, but the seafood export industry is ever booming, and the Chinese government saw potential. But you would be surprised to know that the entire Chinese land has arisen from nothing. It seems the Chinese have quite a good experience in turning deserts into productive lands, doesn't it? As we know, centuries ago, due to China's geographical location, the country was nothing more than 10,000 hectares of barren deserts. Not only has the Chinese government built everything from scratch, but they have also turned huge acres of deserted lands into productive agricultural fields, which was nearly impossible. They have always recognized the potential to improve vast regions. Instead of treating the barren deserts as huge, insufferable burdens, they have well utilized these large spaces in building agricultural sectors and implementing plans to turn the worthless lands into fertile fields. But how was it all possible? Well, all thanks to the world's first terraforming technology. Before we move on to discuss the speciality of this technology in detail, you must know that even in the past, China has miraculously transformed the arid lands. For example, they have covered the longest desert highway in Xinjiang. They had successfully completed the construction of the Tarim Desert Highway, which is the longest road in the world, built across a shifting sand desert. It is created with sand and stabilized with geotextiles instead of cement. Moving on from that, China is on to creating another miracle, which appeared comparatively more unachievable until it was declared. With enough experience to tackle the harsh desert-like conditions, Xinjiang Aquaculture Company has undertaken this project to simulate seawater in a fishing ground at the edge of a desert. Its sole purpose is to produce sufficient seafood types that are further aimed to enhance seafood accessibility in China's inland areas. One thing about China's tremendous performing GDP is its food security. The whole purpose of creating an additional high-yield seafood production was an attempt to increase China's seafood output. Not only will the project help China's economy to spike by exporting tons of seafood, but it will also cut out constant seafood imports from other countries. Moreover, any new mega-project directly means hundreds of new jobs contributing to China's rural economic development. Now that they knew the desert's potential to provide huge acres of agricultural land, Xinjiang Aquaculture Company's plan to move aquacultivation into the desert was not a far-fetched idea. If this aquaculture project succeeds, then less discovered regions like Lake Boston in Xinjiang will have tremendous positive economic and ecological impacts. The Xinjiang Aquaculture Company, which came into limelight in 2022, was the first company to successfully create a pilot project regarding this matter. They developed a technology to simulate seawater in a fishing ground located at the edge of a desert. Similarly, the Xinjiang region is chosen as a pilot area for this project. Its natural saltwater surprisingly had closer salinity to seawater on which the whole mega-project was based. This artificial mariculture aims to increase China's inland area's access to seawater by taking advantage of the saline alkaline soil of the desert. With research, they have adjusted the probiotic levels with the addition of a few other micronutrients to the water to facilitate the simulation of different seawater environments. Well, this becomes absolutely necessary for different species to grow in an environment which is not naturally suitable for them. The seawater aquafarming will include simulation of freshwater fish, king prawn, and lobsters as a part of seeking technological breakthroughs in agriculture. So, what was the reason for undertaking such a unique project? Chen, Xinjiang Shizixian's head, revealed in a recent interview that it was all amid concerns over seafood security following the release of water from the Fukushima nuclear power plant. According to a recent report, China has cut all seafood ties with Japan following the hazardous thermal water discharge. It was due to a devastating earthquake which tampered with every Japanese seafood product. It acted as a perfect drive for China to strengthen its food security policies and take matters into its own hands. Well, if you're worried about the environmental impact, then the project has installed 6 indoor pools with greenhouses to compensate for temperature differences in Xinjiang. The company has tried to come up with 8 different types of seafood, which are first grown indoors. These comrades will then be transferred to an outdoor pool. It is yet unclear if the products will be made available to the customers, but the Chinese really hope to try their hands on them soon. In recent times, the Chinese media has hailed the expansion of seafood production as a role model example. China's new strategy to blend academics and local officials for modernized agricultural ways has been helping the country to be more self-reliant in agricultural production. Officials have stated how the global food market is extremely unreliable and highly depends upon geopolitical relationships. Recently, climate change and the war in Ukraine have been the same. China, which has continued being the world's largest seafood producer, accounts for a whopping 18% of global seafood activities, according to the United Nations. But seafood isn't the only reason Xinjiang is traditionally famous. Well, how can we forget its fruit production unit that ranges from hami melons to Korla pearls? It was extremely smart of the Chinese scientists to make use of terraforming technology in the fields of agriculture. It is nothing but the deliberate alterations of environmental conditions such as atmosphere temperature, surface topography, or ecology of a region to make it more habitable to certain life forms. Xinjiang is rightly chosen as the pilot due to its saline alkaline-tolerant soil, which is also used to harvest seawater rice. This in turn increases China's crop output tremendously. However, China is also facing a water shortage crisis. This is why all of the recent agricultural developments in the country have been based on sustainability for the future. If everything goes right, then the Xinjiang government has promised to increase the annual output of aquatic products by around 30,000 tons in 2 years. Does this mean China will easily lift its aquatic production to 69 million tons by 2025? Well, if it tackles its water scarcity problems, then yes. Do let us know in the comments down below what you think of this Chinese mega project. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.